In the previous lecture, we have started with the inverse Laplace transform, and we have seen how we are able to find the inverse Laplace transform if we know the Laplace transform. So, as we have seen, the Laplace transform is the path from time domain to frequency domain, and inverse Laplace transform is the path from frequency domain to time domain. Okay, so this way we are able to relate the frequency domain and the time domain, and hence we'll try to explore more on this relation of time and frequency domain given by Laplace transform and inverse Laplace transform. So in the previous lecture, we have seen the Laplace transform of elementary functions, and then how we can use the Laplace transform of elementary functions to find the inverse Laplace transform. Okay, now we have to go for the another technique. Okay, so what that technique is? Okay, so we are currently having inverse Laplace transform. So we are having the inverse Laplace transform. Now, in inverse Laplace transform, we yesterday we concentrated on the denominator. As in the previous lecture, we have seen the denominator is more important. So there was only one factor. We tried to express the denominator as s plus a, s minus a, or s square plus a square, or s square plus minus a square, and then we try to evaluate, and then using the first shifting property, we calculated the inverse Laplace transform of some functions. Okay, now we have to move on. So we have to study the another method. Okay, because what you have, suppose you have uh, more than one factor in the denominator. Okay, then we are in trouble. We will not able to use the previous method, and hence we have to use the another method that is called method of partial fractions. So next method to find the inverse Laplace transform that we have to use is the method of partial fractions. Okay, so you have already seen in 11th standard that what is the partial fractions. Okay, so what do you mean by partial fractions? So if you have a fraction, then expressing it into the smaller fractions, so it called as the partial fractions. So here, whenever we have more than one factor in the denominator, but as we have seen the standard formula, we can treat only one factor in the denominator. So if I have more than one factor in the denominator, then I have to split into smaller fractions, one factor at a time, and then definitely we are able to find out the inverse Laplace transform. So to use this method, there are some preliminaries that we need to revise. So what are the preliminaries? We have to consider the denominator and then factors in the denominator. So we have factor in denominator and constants to be chosen. Okay, so how we have to choose the constants? Okay, you can have this as the constant term or as the polynomial term, which will be the numerator actually. So how we are going to choose the numerator? Okay, so that's what we have. Now, the first thing that we can have is we may have a linear factor. Okay, so how the linear factor look like? It will be as plus b. So here we have to be careful that our variable is yes now, our variable is not x. So we have to be careful that what kind of a term we can have. So we'll have a linear factor in the denominator, and that is as plus b. So if it is as plus b, then what will be the corresponding constant of the numerator? So I can have the constant as a, b, and so onwards. Okay, so number of linear factor I will be having number of constants. Okay, now we can have the next. We can have repeated linear factor. So, for example, this factor is repeated. Okay, so if it is repeated, then how it will be? It will be like as plus b repeated r times. Okay, so suppose this factor is repeated r times. Okay, now what we can have is what will be the constant or what will be the numerator chosen for this. Okay, so this factor is repeated r times, and hence the constants will be a1, a2 up to ar. Okay, so the number of times the factor is repeated, that many constants we have to choose. And this is a linear factor, so we'll have only the constant terms here. Okay, so for example, we can see now. Suppose we have a factor which is repeated two times. So we have here as plus b repeated two times. So what will be the partial fractions of this? It will be a1 upon as plus b plus a2 upon as plus b brackets. Okay, if this is repeated three times, so 1 upon as plus b bracket, then what we can have is a upon as plus b plus e upon as plus b bracket square plus c upon as plus b bracket. So you need to understand one thing, that for each factor the numerator will be different. Here purposely I have used a1, a2, a3, a3 so you can understand this sequence, or you can use the different symbols for every factor. Like first factor I am using capital A, for second factor I am using B, for the third factor I am using C. So that doesn't matter. Okay, so this way you can have the partial fractions for the repeated factor. Okay, now there is the another one. So what happens if I have the quadratic factor? Okay, so suppose I have quadratic factor. Okay, then how the quadratic factor will look like? It will look like as square plus bs plus c. Okay, so this is how we'll have a quadratic factor. Now, the important thing that you need to understand is what we will call as a quadratic factor. So having degree 2, is that sufficient to call as a quadratic factor? No. this is irreducible quadratic factor. So when we say quadratic factor, it is going to be irreducible quadratic factor. So for example, I have two terms here. Okay, so I'll be having s square minus 4 and s square plus 4. So we need to decide which one of this is quadratic. Okay, so whether this is quadratic or this is quadratic. So as I said, we have to look for irreducible quadratic. So this you can reduce as s minus 2, s plus 2. But what about the factorization of this term? Not possible, it will go in complex. Okay, so we don't have to go to complex, but be in reals only, and hence this will not be treated as a quadratic, but this will be treated as a quadratic. So we have to be careful what is going to be quadratic and what is going to be not quadratic. So here quadratic factor, that means irreducible quadratic factor. Okay, so if it is reducible or we can find out the factorization, then it will be treated as a product of linear terms. So here I will have this quadratic factor. And now what will be the constant chosen for this? Okay, so the constant chosen for this will be as plus b. Okay, so this will be as plus b. And we don't go for the repeated quadratic factor because that is not going to solve our purpose. Okay, so for that we need to have the another method. This method has a limitation that this method cannot treat the quadratic repeated factor. Okay, and hence this is what you will be having. Okay, so I want you to write down this. Okay, so we'll try to solve the problem based on this. So quickly, please write down this. So I hope you are done. Yes, are you done with the formula?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So now one thing you need to understand, the we can say the important thing in method of partial fraction is the numerator is the general derivative of denominator. Okay, so whatever the derivative you have, okay, so suppose you have a cubic irreducible polynomial, then what will be the numerator? So we have to think of what will be the derivative of this term, for example. So the derivative of this d by ds of as square plus bs plus c. Okay, so this is bs plus c. The general derivative is 2as plus b. Okay, and that's what this I am taking as as, and this will be b. So this is how we can have the numerator for the factor, whatever we can have. Okay, so
So for quadratic factors, we don't have partial fraction.
yeah, we'll have the numerator. Repeated quadratic factor, this method is not applicable.
Okay, sir.
This quadratic
So,
is an irreducible quadratic polynomial. That's what I said. This is going to
so,
be,
so we don't have denominator.
this is in the denominator. This quadratic term is in the denominator already. Okay.
Okay.
And then how to choose its numerator? This is the denominator term. So this will be its numerator. Okay, so that's what I have written in the beginning only. See, this is a constant or the numerator. So this term you will have in the denominator, and this term you have to choose as a numerator. Okay, and then later on we have to find out what exact value of this constants or the numerator is. Okay, so for this denominator, I'll have this numerator. So this numerator I have to choose and find out the value of the constant or whatever the terms in the numerator. Okay, so if it is repeated, in case of repeated only, I have written like this so that easily you can understand. Okay, now when we'll solve the problem, it will be more clear to you how we are going to use this. Okay, so are the formulae clear to you? Okay, it will be more clear as we'll go on solving the problems. Okay, so you got the idea of how to choose the constant or the numerator. Okay, so we'll go with the example. Find the inverse Laplace transform of, okay, so we have here, this is 2s square plus 3s minus 9 upon s cube minus 6s square plus 11s minus 6. Okay, this is the example that we have. Okay, now see in this example. Okay, what we have is like this is given a bar of s. So I want you to have the calculator with you. So please take your calculator. Now onwards, we'll need it. So for the faster calculations, 2s square plus 3s minus 9. Okay. Okay. And then this is going to be s cube minus 6s square plus 11s minus 6. Okay. So whatever the method earlier we have seen, that was only for the s and s square. Okay, but here what you have s cube. Okay, and you can see the degree of denominator is greater than the degree of numerator. So we don't have to use the derivative here. Okay, now our first task is to find out the factors of this. Okay, so what I'll suggest you, use your calculator. Your calculator can solve a cubic polynomial. Okay, so find out the roots of this. S cube minus 6s square plus 11s minus 6 is equal to 0. So use your calculator and find the roots. So find the roots of this and tell me what are the roots you are getting. So there are two methods to find the roots of this. One is by synthetic division. Okay, so synthetic division is a trial and error method. So here, how we are able to find the roots of this or the factorize this polynomial. So we have to consider the coefficient of all these terms in descending order. The coefficient are 1, minus 6, then 11, and again minus 6. So if I want to find out the factors of this is the synthetic division. In the synthetic division, we start with the term plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, and like this. Okay, so this is how we consider the roots. So what we do is I consider first s is equal to plus 1. Okay, so if I consider s is equal to plus 1, that means I am trying the factor s minus 1. Okay, and now If I consider s is equal to 1, then I don't do anything for this. Okay, so this term remains as it is. Now I take the product of this one and write it here, and then take the sum of these two. So it is going to be minus 5. Then the product of this one and this 5 and write it here. So it will going to be minus 5. And I get here 6. Then the product of this one and this 6 and write it here. And then the sum. So it is going to be 0. So if the here last term is going to be 0, then we can say this is the factor. Okay, and if this is a factor, then what is the corresponding remaining polynomial here? So the remaining polynomial is going to be, this is going to be reduced by 1. Okay, so yeah, one yes we have taken out. So this s cube now will become s square. And so the remaining polynomial is s square minus 5s plus 6. And we can factorize this polynomial. So it is going to be s square minus 2 and s square, sorry, it is going to be s square will be now, we are factorizing, so s square will become now s. So s minus 2 and s minus 3. So this way I got the factor. This is my first factor, this is my second factor, and this is my third factor. So I get the factorization as, so I'll get the factorization as s cube minus 6s plus 11s minus 6 is equal to s minus 1 was the first factor, then s minus 2 is the second factor, s minus 3 is the third factor. Okay, I can have this here into s minus 3. Okay, or by your calculator you might have got the values 3, 2 and 1. Okay, so when you get 3, 2 and 1, that means s is equal to 3, 2 and 1. So s is equal to 3 means s minus 3 is factor, s is equal to 2 means s minus 2 is a factor, and s is equal to 1 means s minus 1 is a factor. Okay, so this way we are able to get the factors, and once you get the factors, then you can write it here. Okay, so once you get this factor, we are able to use them here. So I'll be using here. So I can write this as, this is going to be 2s square plus 3s minus 9 and the factors of this. So I'll be having s minus 1, s minus 2 and s minus 3. So now you can see we have more than one factors in the denominator, and if I have more than one factors in the denominator, then I cannot use the previous method, because previous method is applicable for only one factor in the denominator. And now we have to go for the method of partial fraction. So I assume that this is going to be f bar of s, let it equation 1. And now I have to find out the partial fraction of this. Okay, so we have, okay, now tell me what kind of factors are this. Okay, so you can see what kind of factors are these. Are they as plus b type, or are they as plus b brackets to r, or are these factors of the type a square plus bs plus c? Which types of factors are this? Yeah, someone of you can answer this. So this is degree is going to be 1 for this factor. So what we call the factor with the degree 1? Which type of factor is this? Linear factor, repeated factor, or quadratic factor?
Linear.
Yes, it is going to be linear factor. And the important thing is that these are all distinct linear factors. Okay, so no linear factor is repeated. So these are all distinct linear factors. And hence, what we can write it. So we have, this is 2s square plus 3s minus 9 upon, we will be having s minus 1, s minus 2 and s minus 3. So for this first factor, I'll be having a s minus 1. For this second factor, I'll have b s minus 2. For this third factor, I'll have c and s minus 3. Okay, now next step is very important. So what you can do is take this denominator on this side. Okay, so if you take this denominator on this side, what will happen? For the first factor, s minus 1 will get cancelled. So you will have here as 2a square plus 3s minus 9 is equal to a into. See, this s minus 1 will get cancelled. You will have s minus 2 and s minus 3. Okay, so you will have s minus 3. Plus, for this b, what will get cancelled? S minus 2 will get cancelled, and you will have s minus 1 and s minus 3. So I'll be having s minus 1 and s minus 3. For this c, what will get this s minus 3 will get cancelled, and you will have s minus 1 and s minus 2. So I'll be having c, and this is s minus 1 and s minus 2. Okay, so this is the expression that you will have. Okay, so either you can take the LCM and then you can have this, or the simple way, take this denominator on this side and cancel the terms, and then whatever the remaining will be this. Now, if we have all the linear factor and then all the distinct factors, then we have a benefit. Okay, so it becomes easy to evaluate this constant values A, B, and C. Okay, so how we are able to evaluate this A, B, and C? So first, for A, I have to make its denominator equal to 0. So I have to make s minus 1 is equal to 0. That means I'll be having s is equal to 1. For B, what we can do is make this 0. Okay, so put s is equal to p, 2, and this for C, I'll have put s is equal to 3. Okay, so this way, if I put these three values, then for the s is equal to 1, I'll get the value of A. For s is equal to 2, I'll get the value of B. And for s is equal to 3, I'll get the value of C. Okay, so in this expression, we have to put s is equal to 1. So if I put s is equal to 1, what is going to be 2 plus 3, 5, and minus 9. So I'll be having this is minus 4. Okay, so this will be 2, this will be 3, 5, minus 9. So it is going to be minus 4. Now, here we are putting s is equal to 1. So this term is 0. This product will be 0. Here we are putting s is equal to 1. So this term will be 0. This product is going to be 0. And now, for this term, we have to consider. So I'll have A, and this is s is equal to 1. So this will be minus 1, and this will be minus 2. Okay, so once I have this minus 1 and minus 2, then what we'll be having the term here. So this is minus 4 and this is 2a. So I'll be having a is equal to minus 4 by 2, and that is equal to minus 2. Okay. Now I'm able to get that this a is equal to minus 2. So let's have this here. Okay. Now we have to think of this b. Okay, so if I put s is equal to 2, then we have to put here 2. So it will become 4, 4 2 is 8. So it is going to be 8 plus 6 minus 9 is equal to. Here we are putting s is equal to 2. So this term is going to be 0. So that's why product is going to be 0. Here this term is going to be 0. So the product is going to be 0. And hence only we have to evaluate this term. Okay, so I'll be having b into. If I'm putting s is equal to 2, then this will be 1 and this will be minus 1. Okay, so now here what we can have is this is going to be 14 minus 9, so it is going to be 5, and here I'll get this is minus b. So I can have b is equal to minus 5. So please be careful while writing 5 and yes, we have to be careful. Okay, now we want to evaluate c. So what we can have for this, you can see if I put s is equal to 3, this term is going to be 0. So this term is 0. Here, if I put s is equal to 3, then this term is going to be 0, and hence the product is going to be 0. Now we have to evaluate this left hand side. So what we can have the left hand side, see 2 into 9 plus 3 into 3. Okay, so we can have 3 minus 9 and is equal to this side. What will be having c, and this is going to be 2 and this is going to be 1. Okay, so this is 18 plus 9 minus 9, and this is 2c. Okay, so you will get this is 2c. Now this 9 get cancelled, so we'll be having 18 is equal to 2c, and hence c is equal to 18 by 2, that is 9. So we got c is equal to 9. So this way we got the value of a, we got the value of b, and we got the value of c. And so uh, we can use these values of a, b, and c, and from equation 1 we are able to write f bar of s. So here we write from equation 1 we get. So we have f bar of s is equal to, so it is going to be minus 2 upon s minus 1 minus 5 upon s minus 2 and plus 9 upon s minus 3. And now you can see this f bar of s is in very simple form, and so we can have the inverse Laplace transform. So we have inverse Laplace transform of f bar of s is equal to inverse Laplace transform of minus 2 upon s minus 1 minus 5 upon s minus 2 and plus 9 upon s minus 3. Okay, so using the linearity property, we are able to write this as Laplace inverse of minus 2 upon s minus 1 minus Laplace inverse of 5 upon s minus 2 and plus Laplace inverse of 9 upon s minus 3. So this is going to be minus 2 Laplace inverse of 1 upon s minus 1 minus 5 Laplace inverse of 1 upon s minus 2 and plus 9 Laplace inverse of 1 upon s minus 3. Okay, so this you can have, this is going to be minus 2. Now we know what is the Laplace inverse of 1 upon s minus a. What
e
is
raised to minus 80.
e raised to minus at? The Laplace inverse of 1 upon s minus a.
e raised to 80.
Correct. So it is e raised to 80. So in this case, what we'll get is e raised to t minus 5 times e raised to 2t plus 9 times e raised to 3t. Okay. So this way we are able to get the inverse Laplace transform of f bar of s. Or actually, what we calculated is we calculated Laplace inverse of. Okay. So it is 2s square plus 3s minus 9 upon s cube minus 6s square plus 11s minus 6, and this Laplace inverse is minus 2 e raised to t minus 5 e raised to 2t and plus 9 e raised to t. Okay, so this way we are able to get the inverse Laplace transform of the function using the method of partial fraction. So do you have any doubt in this example? If you have any doubt, you can please ask, or any step that you are not able to get, you can ask. Okay. So, do you have any doubt in this example? Okay, that's great. So we don't have any problem. Good. Okay. So let's have the another example. Okay. So we'll have the another example. Okay. So let's go with another example. We can have find inverse Laplace transform. Of you have this is 2s plus 3 upon s square plus 4 s minus 2. Okay. So that's what the example is. So we have solution. Let f bar of s is equal to 2s plus 3 and we have s square plus 4 and it is s minus 2. Okay. So now the factors are clearly given, so we don't have to go for the factorization. But we have to identify what types of factors we have. And then we start with the smaller factor, so linear factor, and then we have the quadratic factor. So let this equation one, this is a bar of s. And now we consider the partial fraction, so 2s plus 3 upon s minus 2 and s square plus 4. So here the first factor is a linear factor, so we'll be having the constant term as a numerator plus. Now you can see this is the quadratic factor. It is irreducible quadratic factor. So the numerator will be bs plus c. As a already I have chosen, so I should not repeat the same constant again. Okay. So a I have chosen. So next constant I am having, and then this is a quadratic. So for the quadratic factor, you have to choose its general derivative as its numerator. So the general derivative of this will be bs plus c. Okay, and hence we got this. Now we simplify this. Okay, so if we want to simplify, this is going to be 2s plus 3 is equal to a s square plus 4 plus bs plus c s minus 2. Okay, so is this expression correct? So you can unmute yourself and then give me the answer. Is this expression correct? So one thing you have to be careful about the brackets. So please use the proper brackets. Otherwise, this would have multiplied to C only, but it has to multiply to BS also. Now we simplify this. So it is 2s plus 3 is equal to, I'll be having this is a square plus 4a. Okay. And then what I'll be having, this is bs square plus cs minus 2bs minus 2c. Okay. So I have here, this is going to be a plus b s square. So I'm collecting the terms with the same power of s. Now plus, what will be having? Minus 2b plus cs and plus. I'll be having 4a. Okay. Then this is going to be minus 2c. So a square is collected, b square is collected, then cs and minus 2bs is collected, and 4a and 2c is collected. So yes, all the terms we have collected. Okay, and now see, as in the previous example, we were having the benefit that all the terms were linear terms, so we can put the value of linear term and get the value. So here, if you put s is equal to 2, then you can get only the value of a. Okay, so the value of b and c we cannot be obtained by you putting some value. Okay, and hence we have to go for this method. This method is useful in every case. So please remember this method. This method is useful in each and every case, whatever the numerator we have, whatever the denominator we have. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll compare the coefficients. Okay, so comparing the coefficients of s square, s, and constant terms on both sides. We get. Okay, so what we'll get is C, A plus B. So there is no S square on the left hand side, so A plus B has to be 0. And then this is minus 2B plus C. The coefficient of S is 2 here. And this 4A minus 2C is equal to 3. So we can have these three equations. Okay. But if you write these three equations like this, so we can have a plus b is equal to 0, minus 2b plus c is equal to 2, and 4a minus 2c is equal to 3. Then this is the system of linear equations in three unknowns. This is the 3 by 3 system that you have studied in same one. So easily you are able to solve this. Okay. So now we don't have to explain how do we solve it here. Okay, but you can directly say by solving above system of linear equations. Okay, so I want you to use your calculator and give me the answer. So by solving above system of linear equations, we get. Okay, so what we are able to get is a is equal to, b is equal to, and c is equal to. So give me the values of a, b, and c. What is the value of a?
7 by 8.
7 by 8. B?
Minus 7 by 8.
Minus 7 by 8. C?
1 by 4.
1 by 4.
1 by 4. So all of you are getting these same values?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So here you need to be careful that if you got these values properly, then only your inverse Laplace transform will be correct. Otherwise, then it will be a trouble. Okay. So if you miss these values, then you will miss the inverse Laplace transform. So we got the values of A, B, and C, and hence I am able to write down this bar of S. So let us write this bar of S. So what I'll get here as, so what I can say is from equation 1, okay, we have, what will be having, f bar of S is equal to minus 7 by 8 S minus 2 plus, sorry, this is going to be plus, okay. So my 7 by 8 upon S minus 2 minus 7 by 8 times S and plus 1 by 4 upon S square plus 4. So I can simplify this as 7 by 8 into 1 upon S minus 2 minus I can have 1 by 8 common. So I'll get in the numerator 7S minus 2 upon s square plus 4. Are you getting this term? I have taken minus 1 by 8 common from. So when I take minus, this will become minus. And if I am taking 8 common from here, I have to multiply and divide by 2. So I got 2 here. So this is f bar of s. And now this is the simplest form, or you can write this as, okay, you can simplify this more as, so I'll be having 7 by 8, 1 upon s minus 2 minus 1 by 8. Here you can write 7s upon s square plus 4 and minus 2 upon s square plus 4. Okay. So this is going to be your f bar of s, and now we have inverse Laplace transform of f bar of s is equal to, you can have inverse Laplace transform of 7 by 8, 1 upon s minus 2 minus, again you can have this 7 by 8 s upon s square plus 4 minus minus plus 1 by 4, and this is going to be 1 upon s square plus 4, and that's what it will be. Now we can use the linearity property. So linearity property, you can have the number of terms, so that is not limited for only 2 terms. So you can have the number of terms, and you are able to express it. So 7 by 8 inverse Laplace of 1 upon s minus 2 minus 7 by 8 inverse Laplace of s upon s square plus 4 and plus 1 by 4 inverse Laplace of 1 upon s square plus 4. Okay, so that's what we'll be having, 7 by 8 e raised to 2t minus 7 by 8, this is going to be cos of 2t plus 1 by 4, and we'll be having sine of 2t by 2. Okay, so you got here, and hence inverse Laplace transform of f bar of s is equal to 7 by 8 e
So
raised
why
to
do
2.
I have sine 2t by 2?
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so what is the formula for inverse Laplace? Okay, so the inverse Laplace of 1 upon s square plus a square is equal to sine of 80 upon a. So this is the formula. So here we have 1 upon s square plus this is 2 square. So the value of a is going to be 2. Okay, and that's why it will be sine of 2t by 2. Okay, got your query? Is that okay?
Yes, then why doesn't we have that in cos 2t?
Yeah, great. So the formula for cosine is what? 1 upon s upon s square plus Laplace inverse of s upon s square plus a square is equal to, this is cos of 80. This is what the formula we have studied in the previous chapter, and at the beginning of this chapter also. So yes, we cannot take on the other hand side, because yes is a frequency variable. So here you have all the frequency terms, here you have all the time terms, and this a being a constant, I can take it in the frequency domain as well as in the time domain. So that's how we don't have yes in the denominator for cosine term, because if you will take yes here, this is the time expression, and you will be mixing the time and frequency. So frequency will remain in only here, and then when you take the inverse, then you will have only time, not time and frequency. So the time and frequency together will not be there. Either it will be time or it will be frequency.
So we cannot take 2 in the denominator like sine 2t upon 2. So cos 2t upon 2.
Why cos 2t upon 2? This is the formula. Okay. So we
Okay,
don't
sir.
have constant. Do we have the constant here? We don't have the constant, so we cannot have the constant here. Okay. So now we'll be having, this is 7 by 8 cos of 2t plus you'll be having 1 by 8 and sine of 2t. So this is how we are able to get the inverse Laplace transform for this given function. Okay, so this is how using the partial fractions or the method of partial fractions we are able to see. So, do you have any doubt in this example? Any doubt in this example? Okay, or whatever we have solved up to yet, is there any doubt in both of this example or this method? No. Okay, that's great. Okay, so good. Okay, so we have seen the method of partial fraction and how to use the method of partial fraction for the linear distinct linear factors and linear factor and quadratic factor. Okay, we'll see more examples in next lecture.